Okay, everybody. I've dressed up tonight because, I've been in the freedom movement for a long time, and I remember when it started in Epic. What I loved about the marches and the first bit in Epic was the amount of love we were pumping out to the world. When now I find I just get called by people constantly going, "Oh, it's the Masons and the Fabians and all this other thing," and the last several months, a year now, it's the Zionists, it's the Zionists, it's the Zionists, and so I was basically I've heard this from everyone. Everyone's saying they do the research, and I thought, well, rather than just hating upon these Zionists, and I never actually met one, I thought I'd reach out. So I googled Zionists are us, and under the tab depopulation services, there was a thing said contact us, and I got hold of Ezra Seinfeld, and he's going to come on now to serve. So I know this could be a bit touchy because there's a lot of hate around. So we'll just try to teach this gentleman with respect. He's come on to to tell us about, well, what they're up to. So, without further ado, here is Ezra Seinfeld. Good evening, Ezra, and thank you for joining us.
Mm.
Um, okay, I'll get on just with our questions. I know you're on limited time. Now, question one, this is what everybody wants to answer. Don't get offended. But as a Zionist, are you truly committed to mass depopulation using various methods that are documented, like limited wars, organized epidemics, and fatal rapid acting diseases and starvation?
Yes,
Hmm. And why would you want to do that, Ezra?
it's a living.
It's a living. Okay. We also have good information that we got from a Google search. Then, when it comes to who is behind depopulation, it could also be the Masons, the Chinese, the American Army, the Jesuits, the Fabians, the Muslims, and aliens. What is your thought on that?
Well, you see, Michael, with all booming markets, it's all very competitive.
Hmm. Okay. And is it true that you Zionists collectively think of the rest of us as useless eaters?
Well, you do eat a lot.
That's true. We do. We do eat a lot. There's a lot of fast food and
Mm.
stuff. So how is the depopulation agenda going so far?
Nah.
Oh, so what is the problems that you're facing?
Well, the major hurdle is that there's simply a lot of you. And I
Hmm.
mean, we haven't even started with India.
Oh, so why haven't you started on India?
Well, what a stupid question. Who do you think is going to deliver our Uber Eats? What do you think? You think it's going to be you?
No. I'd get cold in the night when they're delivering it. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. Um, okay. Well, since it's clear that the rest of us are on limited time, I wonder if you'd be able to clear the air on some of the questionable events that a lot of the world attribute to you Zionists. Would you be kind enough to do that?
Questionable events. Well, where do you want to even start? How long's a piece of string, Michael? Did you want to start with the moon landing, the
You fake
Kennedy
that?
assassination, bad weather events, bad hair days, everything that goes wrong with your fakakta life? We have a patent on that, by the way. So if your life actually goes well, we'll end up suing you.
Hmm. Well, that's good to know. Well, I'm safe. I'm safe. That's good to know that I'm safe. What about the COVID and the jabs? Were you guys behind that?
I can't recall.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. We've also heard that you're working on predictive thought programming. How is that going?
Predictive thought programming. I knew you were going to ask that, Michael.
Oh, so it's going well. That's it. It'd be. I didn't think I'd be having my own thoughts for a while. The Middle East has been fighting for Israel for what seems like forever with everyone. Endless wars, tunnels, missiles, you name it. Endless misery. Do you think, after all this death and destruction, it's time to return? And I say this out of, great respect. It's time to return to what initially caused all this conflict and finally just accept the fact that Muhammad is never going to return your lawnmower.
His lawnmower,
Hmm.
it's our freaking lawnmower,
Oh,
and it's a ride on. And we happen to have a lot of hills in Israel. Have you ever tried to mow a freaking hill?
no, but aren't you in a desert?
So, what's your point, Michael? What's your point?
No point. No point. Just asking. Um, Benjamin Netanyahu seems to be a slightly cantankerous leader. Do you think he'd have a better disposition if he was invited to more United Nations parties?
Him, Bibi? I'd like to be invited to a party.
Oh, so you're feeling left out, like so ostracized for your beliefs.
Well, it was my birthday last week and I didn't even get a cake.
Oh, how about a card? Did anyone send you a card?
Not even a Facebook post.
Well, yeah, that is upsetting. I understand what it feels like to be ostracized. It's very tough. If it happened to me again, I'd be very upset too. I have to admit.
Upset enough to depopulate the entire world?
Well, maybe not the whole world. Canberra, perhaps. Would you guys have a problem with that?
Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, the money we would save.
Oh, so you're suggesting here live on Cafe Lockdown that the Zionists bribed the politicians?
Well, what do you think, Michael, that Teslas grow on trees? What do you think this is?
No, I don't think they grow on trees. Okay. Well, that's interesting to know. Okay, next question. This is from an audience member. This is from a longtime subscriber and longtime commentator, Richard Wollstonecroft, and he wants to know, did you kill Jesus?
No.
Really? Really?
Of course not. Well, I mean, why would we? He could turn water into wine, and together we could have made a vast fortune. Be pretty useless in killing him.
That's a very good point. It's very well, then who did kill Jesus?
The Mexicans.
That was my fifth choice. Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's interesting. I have to get a Mexican on then. Okay. This is just a historical question. Moses spent 40 years traveling around the desert searching for the promised land. Why did it take him so long?
Well, you got to realize, let's put it into a historical perspective. There were no Google Maps back then, and he did have a map, but he had it upside down.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. You know, it does take time to turn over a map. So that'll do it. Okay. One more question. Do you think there is any way we could, as a global population, on a rock floating through space, that we could stop killing each other and find a way to value each other as though we were all God's children, and instead of leaving a burning planet to our children, we could leave a planet of love?
Well, what's your point, Michael?
My point is that I think we missed that question. This is where we break character, and I go to you.
Oh, okay. So now we're breaking character. Q, I forgot to read
You had
that.
one job, Leon. You had one job.
I was so into my character. I was loving it. I don't want to break character.
Yeah, I'm going to take this time. You were great.
But to your point,
we lied to you. We lied to you.
Yes, you did. It was all a conspiracy.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy.
Set me up. But to your point about we're all God's children, you're right. We were all created in the image of God. And, the religion, Judaism, Christianity is you have to love your fellow as yourself. And there was a great sage called Hillel who said the basis of Judaism, which is also the basis of Christianity, is don't do unto others that you wouldn't do unto yourself. So essentially, anyone that is God-fearing, that truly fears, has a fear of heaven, and also has a genuine love for their fellow, would not be swept up in all this hate that we're seeing.
Yeah, everywhere. And to all those watching, his name's not Ezra Seinfeld. We made that up.
I like that name.
His name's Levi or Leon, whichever side you swing, and he's actually a Mason. He's the only Jewish Mason in Australia, we're so lucky to get him. Did you hear that?
Let me just.
I'm thinking of
And
being a
I'm
Fabian.
also I'm a Jesuit as well, high-ranking Jesuit.
I didn't want to say that. I thought we'd keep that for later. There's a. I actually think Fabian.
Hey
Fabian
guys,
sounds pretty cool.
nice to see you
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, you got you, Richard. uh, okay, here we go. Question of the day from Borough. Why do the Jews call the rest of us Goyim?
Goyim isn't a derogatory word, contrary to what a lot of people believe and make it out to be. In the Tanakh, so Goy literally means, Goyim is plural, Goy is singular. It literally means nations. So in the Tanakh, in the Jewish scripture, in the 5 books of Moses and in the prophets, Israel is at times referred to as a Goy Gadol, the great Goy, and also the beloved Goy. So it simply means nation. So it was a derogatory word that means that, Israel is the great Goy.
Yeah. Well, you look like a great Goy, Borough. If you're going to be a Goy, you might as well be a great one. You look like the Knight of Malta. Who? Me or Leon? The thing. Now, the reason why we just wanted to do that just to fuck around a bit, and but to be honest, and it's not just against the Jews. There's just hate going through the roof. But the one group that seems to be getting away from the hate is Big Pharma. You don't hear as much hate for them, or even our government, but the rest hate.
I think it's by design. It's by design. It's deliberate to get us all distracted. When we're hating on each other, they get to do what they need to do and get away with it.
Yeah, Google it. Borrow. Goy means nation. I Googled it too.
And look up, there's references to Israel being called a Goy in the scriptures. So there's absolutely nothing derogatory about that word.
Well, it's better than being called gay. You could claim that back from the gays, because you don't have enough people hating you, see.
Interestingly, in Judaism, there's a word called kufar, which means an unbeliever. And in Islam, it's kofar. In Hebrew, the correct pronunciation is kofar in Hebrew, but in Arabic, it's kufar. But interestingly, in the Jewish religion, the word kofar, a denier, refers to a Jewish heretic, a Jew that denies the Torah, whereas in the Islamic faith, it refers to people who don't accept Islam, the non-Muslims. So I thought that's an interesting point to make as well.
So the thing is about here talking. Hey Ben, yeah, you missed it, man. We pretended that Leon was a Zionist. Neither of us actually know what a Zionist looks like, but Leon was the closest.
Thank you there for the birthday wishes.
Yeah, from Big Booty. Now, we might be getting joined by Mona, who's an Iranian who I met at the marches the other day. And if she does come on, the interesting thing is that we will have a Jew and an Iranian on. But the videos I've done recently, Leon, in the marches and with Malika, but with the marches, it's been really interesting seeing the hate in the comments, even though they're all calling these people liars and paid operatives, even though they had no idea I was coming. I didn't tell them. I just turned up and walked around saying, "Does anyone want to talk?" And have you noticed the hate seems to need no justification other than a few Google searches, maybe? Have you noticed that?
Yes, I mean, it's been fueled by social media and the mass media, the mainstream media is to blame. Ironically, a lot of this hate's coming from the left, but the right is certain elements of the right are willing to accept that propaganda, that left-wing propaganda at face value.
That's right.
And the origins of this left-wing propaganda goes all the way back to the Soviet Union, first with Joseph Stalin. This was after Joseph Stalin realized that the newly created state of Israel would not be aligned with him, that they would be more inclined to align with America, and he got upset. And it was carried on by a gentleman called Yuri Andropov, who was the head of the KGB and later became the general secretary of the Communist Party. And he launched a PSYOP called SIG, so which in Russian it's an acronym for Zionist International Government. And he basically, his objective, according to a defector from the Soviet Union, was to normalize and mainstream hatred of Jews. Because after the Holocaust, it became very unpopular. So he wanted to bring it back, but he used the tactic. Instead of saying Jew, he used a dog whistle and he used terms like Zionists. Like he wanted to make out that it was about Zionism, not Judaism, but he really meant Jews. And he wanted to make out that the Zionist entity was this imperialist, colonialist monster that was basically a country that had apartheid, that was oppressing the Arabs. And he basically launched a mass campaign. He started with the Middle East. It wasn't very hard to rile up the masses there in any case. It wasn't a difficult task, but then it ended up trickling into the West, first through the universities, which were dominated by the left-wing intelligentsia, and then the media, which was also dominated by a lot of leftists and pushed through there. And now we're seeing the products, the fruits of it now, especially after post-October 7th. And as I said, ironically, a lot of elements on the right, pushed by the likes of Tucker Carlson, are pushing a lot of this far-left propaganda that originated in the Soviet Union.
You know, I've come to the real belief. This is why I did this joke today, that I'm never going to know what's behind it, because I think a lot of us, we watch the social media, we act or we react as though we're close to if someone we know the truth, we're close to knowing what will happen. Knowing the leaders, almost like I have Trump on my speed dial. I can give him a call and he go, "Oh, Michael, you're the Cafe Lockdown guy. Oh, you want me to open the Straits of Hormuz? Yeah, okay. Or look, I'll just get Netanyahu on a thing, and whoever's in charge of Iran at the moment, just working your way down." And in actual fact, to me, these things have always happened throughout history. Countries going to war, all this sort of destruction, genocides, all this has happened, and probably always will happen, because there's a genocide going on with Christians in Nigeria at the moment that nobody's talking about. I guess either it's the fact that they don't have any oil, or they're black, so no one cares. But that's going on there. I'm interested in how the people endure it. You know what I mean? Because here we are, like when we for those who don't know, Leon used to also stream the Cafe Lockdown on Thursdays for several years, or quite a few years, remember? And the amount of hate I got going, "Why is he there? How dare you have him on there? It's ruining it's ruining Cafe Lockdown having this." And you're thinking, he's a voice. He's a Jew. What do you want, And then also in Leon's, what Leon did, which I thought was incredibly brave at the time, is he reached out when they had October 17th, right? When the border was breached and they had that horrible massacre as well. Leon got us in touch with a border guard who was very adamant that there was no way it could have happened the way they said. He said there's no way that border could have been breached, and there's no way they could have had 6 hours to do what they want. So it seemed from the start, whatever was happening was either a false flag or a web of lies. And since then, we've had the Palestine massacre, and there's been some strange things there too. Like, say, we were watching all the dead babies on Instagram, and yet if you put your bum on Instagram, they take it down. Like, "Oh, that's offensive." And I had another young person talk to me once, and what she said was profound. And this is from the mouths of babes. because she was saying everyone was onto it. Why aren't you wearing the Palestinian flag, Palestinians thing? Why aren't you posting about Palestine? And then what she said was she's been watching it, all of it. And she said Israel has the most sophisticated army probably in history. Palestine is tiny. There'd just been a massacre in Israel, so they had they were justified to respond. And then they said it's been a genocide going on now for a couple of years. She said, why aren't they all dead? And it's just this simple question. And then she said, did you see when they were handing back the hostages? She said, I thought they had no food, but they were all well fed. They all had mobile phones. So the mobile phones,
the latest Samsung and iPhones, and they were dressed very nicely. And they were all cheering and laughing when they were handing over dead the Bibas family. So it was 2 babies and their mother who were manually strangled. And one of the most famous images of October 7th was of the mother. So they were all ginger, getting kidnapped with her 2 babies. And they were celebrating this. They had it was like a carnival-like atmosphere. You can't even make this up.
And so what my point is, we know that destruction's going on, but there's so many lies, I don't know who to trust. And because I don't know who to trust, because there's lies everywhere, and this is what we're trying to do with Iran now, trying to figure out what's going on in Iran. And I've just confirmed that Mona will be joining us in a few minutes. Here she is now. Because you live in a fog of lies, I refuse to just fill my heart full of hate and hate a race because I'm just being fed bullshit, and that is why we did this about the Zionists. So anyway, I'll just
people
get Mona
consume news as entertainment. So the average person is looking to get entertained, essentially, and they're usually just going to accept anything that's going to be fed to them, whether it's via a TikTok feed, a Facebook feed, or on CNN or on the ABC. Most people won't scrutinize it. They will accept it. But what's ironic about the freedom movement is a lot of people in the freedom movement had the foresight to see that the images coming out of China, there's something off. They scrutinize it. They said, oh, well, that's a crisis actor, that guy that's falling down supposedly from COVID in China. Yet some of these people, when it comes to seeing all these images supposedly coming out of Gaza, are just accepting it for face value and not even questioning that.
And that's what I'm saying. So for those watching, you're going to hate us anyway, but that's it. We questioned the initial border crossing, and that was Leon that organized that. And we hope that border guard's okay. And now, so Julie, we're questioning what's happening because we haven't been there. We can't see it, and we can't trust social media, and we can't trust MSN. And now this, so I was interested in the Iran war, which is taking us. And this is where I've met these beautiful Persian people. And so we're going to bring on Mona now. So this is Mona. Hello, Mona. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Mona.
Hi, Michael. Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Good. I'm going to get the videos up that you sent me to so we can have some context with them. But this is Leon Kofmansky. Now, so this is so Leon Kofmansky is a Jew. So you people are supposed to hate each other, and yet you've agreed to come on. And so what gives? If you guys are supposed to be deadly, deadly enemies, why not the hate? And what I've found out, and I'll leave this with you, Mona, is when I've been interviewing the Iranians or the Persians, they talk about a man that connects Israel and Iran, and that's Cyrus the Great, or Cyrus the Elder. Could you tell us about
Yes, Cyrus the Great. He was the founder of Achaemenid Empire, which was a great Persian empire, and this was after he conquered the Babylonians empire, and as he did it, he freed so many people, including the Jews. and then he helped them to go back to Israel and rebuild their temple.
Yeah, and he was from a different religion, older than Christianity and Islam. Could you talk about that religion? Because I looked it up today; it was incredible.
I'm not exactly sure if Cyrus was a religious man or not, but Persians historically, we were Zoroastrians. So Zoroaster was a prophet that he just appeared in 1500 BCE. And basically, he brought and introduced the framework of the monotheistic and dualistic of worship, let's say, of God. Yeah, so, but I'm not sure if Cyrus was a religious man.
So it's seen, but the religion itself is what I'm interested in. So this is seen as a pre-Islamic religion, but in it, what I loved in it, it's all about free will. It says, when I was reading up in the dogma, that the responsibility for your life is yours, and that when you get to, I think it's called the bridge of something. I'd have to. My brain's not that great. Once you pass on and you get to this bridge, you will be judged on what bad things you did, bad thoughts you had, what good deeds you did, what good thoughts you had, and basically on balance. And if the good outweighs the bad, you get to go through to their version of heaven. And if bad, I'm not sure where you go, but you don't go that way. So this is really interesting because these fundamental beliefs have come into Christianity and Islam. So it's like both of us are born from this one ancient religion that I'd never heard of till today.
Yes, well, so the gods in that religion is the Ahura Mazda, and so the life of a devoted Zoroastrian is based on two things. You are either chasing Asha or Daruj. So Asha is the truth and order, and the Daruj is the chaos and lies. And for Asha is when you trying to be a truthful and have everything in order, you would adhere to the to make sure that you have good thoughts, good deeds, good words, good actions. So you're following that to be a truthful human being.
We'll move on now to the war. Now, I interviewed a lot of you people in the streets, but now I've got you here. I think Australians who haven't seen those interviews might be staggered to hear that as an Iranian, you are wanting Israel and Trump to not attack your country so much or the people, but to destroy what you call is the regime. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. So for 47 years, we've been held captive in our own homeland under this oppressive dictatorship. In the early days, there was no internet that we could actually communicate with the outside world and say that what is happening to us. When this regime, these folks, they came into power in 1979, they immediately started mass murdering many people, including the army guys and also students. And even some of the, communist students, helped them to come into power. And there was a lot of torture. They they raped so many girls because they believed that if the virgins get executed, they're going to end up in heavens. And because they didn't want these girls to go to heaven, they raped them. And so to ensure that they're not going to end up to heaven. So there are so many mass graves in Iran. every corner of that country. Many of the mothers in the 70s, 80s, they don't know where their children are even buried today. This still goes on to this date as well. Many of the children that are, kidnapped by the IRGC, the parents are not told where they are, and the parents, many of them are just sitting and waiting. Maybe one day their children are going to, return home. So this has been going on, and we, when you're living under oppression, you're being tortured and abused mentally, emotionally, physically. So you're always stressed when you're, stepping foot outside of the house. You don't know that if they besiege or one of these so-called morality police are going to arrest you and they're going to take you to jail, what's going to happen to you. You always have that at the back of your mind. But we've been fighting them in different ways, whether they really try to enforce very strict hijab on us, but Iranians don't follow that, so they could never really truly enforce the burqa on Iranian women. We always wear our makeup and showed our hair whenever we went to the streets. Still, the girls are doing that, but the problem is not just the hijab, it's the government, the Islamic Republic in general, because you actually have no basic human rights under this regime. So, because of this, whenever you speak up, you get into trouble. And depending on what you say, who you speak to, and the degree of, the impact of what you said, and how many people follow you, or, if you especially become a famous, influencer that is opposing these ideologies and, what they're trying to enforce, then, probably you're going to get into another level of trouble. And you get into prison, you become a political prisoner. Inside that prison, who knows what's going to happen to you, depending on, the circumstances. You might get raped, you might be lucky, to get, some assistance from outside sources that you might know. But many people get raped, they get, tortured, and they end up dead. So this has been what has been going on, and forever. When I remember, since a very, very young age, I always asked the question, when there was a Friday prayers, like many of these guys would, gather around. And I was like, oh, if, the Americans wanted to bomb these guys, it was now the time that the leader is giving a speech, So this idea of Iranians really needing that help to get free is not a new idea. We really need that help and that assistance, because with bare hands, you cannot overthrow a bloodthirsty regime.
There's Borrow here. That's why he's asking why there is Israelis bombing Iran and killing civilians. And this is a big question. So what do you think? Either of you can do that thought. Not that, like I said, we don't have Netanyahu on speed dial, so we can't ask him. So we're already guessing as well. But from your perspective, Mona, why are you welcoming the bombing? I know you've said that, but I think a lot of people are struggling with that. Why is it that you would be welcoming the bombing?
From what I have actually viewed online with the footage, that is, Israelis actually, IDF been very, very specific with targeting the Islamic Republic thugs. So interestingly enough, they knew exactly where these targets are. And they were trying to do this with as less damage to the civilians, and it is very obvious. You have footage from Iran coming that people are cheering as the Israelis and the Americans are actually bombing these guys, and so.
It's interesting, isn't
Mona,
it?
can I ask, if you just finish this for full disclosure with the benefit of some of the audience members, a couple asked, are you, and Michael, you already said this at the start, but again, let's just repeat this, emphasize this once again. Are you Jewish?
No, I'm not Jewish.
Okay. I'm glad we cleared that up.
Didn't even think of asking that one.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of talk too that a lot of Persian people don't actually want to be Islamic. They're the ones I'm talking to. Why is that?
Look, as we spoke about Zoroastrianism, that is the original, let's say, the very first religion that is known to humanity, and it's rooted in Persia, ancient Persia, and that is what. It is very intertwined with our culture and many of our celebrations and what we do. Islam did not come peacefully to Iran. Iranians were attacked 1400 years ago by the Muslim Arabs, and they murdered and slaughtered thousands of Iranians at the time. Some of the scripts says that they were like mountain of heads. There was a mountain made out of the heads of the Iranians that they murdered, and this because of this fear that many of these Muslim Arabs said that either say La ilaha illallah, and which in Arabic means there is no God but Allah, either become a Muslim and we will let you go and let you live, or if you say no to this, we're going to rape your wife and children, and we're going to kill your entire family. This is how many Iranians 1400 years ago accepted to become Muslims. So you see that this basically religion didn't come with love and peace to our country. And prior to them invading and attacking us, they even sent, some messengers to our kings at the time, saying that to become a Muslim, which our kings refused and rejected that, and they just said, no, this is not for us. So Islam came to our country with invasion and a lot of bloodshed. So that is, over the time when for example, the Abbasian Caliphate was ruling Iran, and slowly Iranians, took over again, overthrowing them. But they, of course, a percentage of Iranians, became Muslims, and they started practicing that. Fair enough. But the majority, they don't practice. If we are talking about today, many Iranians are either atheists or they have secretly converted into Christianity, Buddhism, or they are following other types of spiritualities, practices that they're there right now.
It's interesting, Mona, that you mention how Islam came to your country as a hostile ideology and took it over. And I'm seeing a lot of comments here about references to the Greater Israel Project. So I would suggest, for those people making those comments, have you looked at a map? Go and look at a map. Look at the Middle East, North Africa, Europe. See how big Iran is. Look at Israel. Israel is smaller than the state of Tasmania. Let's just put things into perspective. And look at how big Iran is and all these other countries. And all of the Middle East is basically taken over by one religion. And I'll give you a clue, guys. It's not Judaism. It's not Israel. So
can I ask another question? question. Oh, sorry, Leon, let you finish.
No, that's
What I was going
okay.
to say, what I was going to say was, I've done these interviews, and people very willing to speak, but it's been fascinating watching the comments, because people have dogmatically already made their decision, and they're sort of angered that you people are challenging that. And so they're calling you guys liars, and you can't really defend against that. But they're also saying that you guys are a minority and that the majority love their rulers. What is your thoughts about that?
As I told you, Michael, during our interview, I know that there's a lot of misinformation out there. But yes, sadly, I have to tell your audience that they're claiming such a thing, that they are wrong. It's incorrect. Iranians don't love Islamic Republic. Iranians hate the Islamic Republic. They are abusers, and by saying that, you are helping and assisting an abusive regime to stay in power and kill more and more Iranians. We are very, very angry, and we are mourning because in January only, more than 40,000 Iranians were slaughtered in our streets. So instead of just going and listening and watching to your TikToks, how about you actually find the truth and try to get some factual evidence instead of your TikTok videos.
Can I
Sorry,
ask
I'm
you,
just
Mona,
getting really angry right now.
No, that's okay.
someone in the comment section mentioned that 300 schools in Iran
right here.
were bombed by Israel. Is there any truth to that claim?
I've heard the news as well, and it is obviously very sad. Any civilians, any innocent civilian lives being lost in this war, it's sad. And we know that, and that is going to happen, whether it was a mistake, whether it was something that was done by the Islamic Republic. I haven't received the factual evidence. I've heard something that was said by the mainstream media, which many of them are actually also assisting with, publishing the propagandas on the side of the Islamic Republic. But this is something that I would like to, do more digging in as well. By just watching one thing, you can't just make up your mind. But I have to tell you something, exactly like Hamas, because Hamas is a proxy of Islamic Republic, and Iranian money, innocent Iranian people's money goes to Hamas to torture Israelis and to attack Israelis and to torture and kill also the Palestinians. So as you saw exactly in Gaza, how they, these guys hide behind the children and the civilians, and they have human shields. In Iran is exactly the same thing. There are footage, there are videos that you can see that these army men, these IRGC soldiers, they are all going to the schools and they're setting up their, machinery and the weapons there. So if this did happen as well, I've heard that this school was also next to one of the IRGC sites as well. So this is them hiding behind the civilian and human shield. Yeah.
I'm sorry it's so difficult, but we should talk. Do you know what happens to a Palestinian in an Israeli prison? I'll leave that for you, Leon.
Well, the terrorists there get treated very well, but much better than the Israeli hostages who were kept in tunnels, and certainly much better than the Bibas children. And we're talking the Palestinians, the Arabs that are held there are terrorists. They were people that were charged with carrying out murders, in a lot of cases of innocent people, of innocent women and children. So these people, these Arabs that are held there are hardly innocent, and they're treated well. They play card games, they get fed well, certainly much better than a lot of other prisoners around the world, and so certainly much better than the hostages.
Purebred Braham Parazi even have guaranteed representation in Iranian parliament, despite being only a small part of the Iranian population. This is, Tony, a comment, Mona. The Americans bombed a synagogue in Tehran during Passover last week. Did this make Mona happy? I mean, we're going to get some aggressive questions, but it's still good to talk. What are your thoughts on that? You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
Said that the Americans bombed a synagogue. This would make me happy.
That's what he's asking.
I'm sorry. This is such a, let's say, silly question or comment.
What we're dealing with is, and let's be honest, there is an absolute hatred for Trump and an absolute hatred for Israel around the world.
What he's done, what Tony has done there, is the equivalent of a Marxist activist or an indigenous activist going up to him, to Tony, and saying, "Hey, Tony, a lot of Aboriginals have been genocided over the years, and they're living in third world conditions. Are you happy that innocent Aboriginal people, including women and children, have been massacred? Are you happy, Tony?" So the roles have been reversed. So we've got people, we've got people in Australia that are patriotic, unfortunately have been sucked in by left-wing propaganda from the ABC and the universities, that are asking these types of questions. They certainly wouldn't want to, if the tables were turned, they certainly wouldn't appreciate it, but yet they are only happy to pose questions like that to someone like Mona. I mean, what kind of a question is that? Are you happy?
It's interesting that I don't think happiness in a war is something you can measure anything by, except if you survive it, really. We're just going to show you some of this is what got me involved with you, with the Iranians, is seeing the beautiful young people. I mean, it's going a bit fast, but this is the beautiful young people that have been killed by the regime, men, women, and the hangings are brutal, and they go on, and a civilization that murders its own young. I mean, let's be honest, we've got an abortion rate that's probably higher than the amount of people the Iranians kill, but that's what I find despairing. It doesn't seem to make any sense. And the other thing I was going to suggest to people is, if these people are lying, these Iranians and Persians that I've interviewed, and the Iranian government is benevolent and not dangerous, then how come they have shut down the internet? Because wouldn't you think that if the government was benevolent, the government was nice, and the people loved it, then they would leave the internet on so that the Iranian people who love the government could video all the bombing, could say how much they love the government, share it around the world, and that would stop the war, because the people would rise up and go, "What are we doing?" But we're not seeing any of that. They've shut down the internet, and the people who are the Iranian voice are you protesters in the street. I saw the ABC went down. I don't know if you made any ABC news, but the interviews we've done, it's staggering watching the reaction. It's so polar, but those who are against you have no arguments. They just attack, call you liars, call you this. And do you think that's because just by living, just by existing, just by wanting you to speak freely, you're challenging a narrative of hate that is blinding a lot of people?
Yes. If you're asking me, yes. I think that unfortunately, in today's world, many of these human rights activists and women's rights activists, they all have a set a scope of work and an agenda, and they have a list that they would like to tick off. And if you don't, fit into what they already designed, and they absolutely ignore you, and they hate you. As you said, the internet being cut off. My people are in internet blackout for more than 40 days. And not only that, the Hashd Shabi terrorist groups from Iraq, the neighboring country, and the Fatimiyun from Afghanistan, these both terrorist groups are now inside my country, roaming around in the streets with their flags, and they're there to intimidate people, to scare them off, and to kill them, and to shoot at them. Just imagine for the 2 minutes that tomorrow you wake up and there is no internet connection. You can't check your emails. You can't make any phone calls if you have a cousin somewhere else. You can, reach out to your parents. And even worse, there is a group outside of your home that they can kill you any moment. And then you have these Westerners that, interestingly enough, are sitting there and saying that, oh no, you're lying. These are the good guys. Love them. What's wrong with you?
Let's go to the feminist question. This astounds me. Can you tell us the story of this young woman?
This is sorry.
I know it's hard. I'm sorry, but it's important.
This is Nikasha Academy, and she was the reason that I became an activist, a political activist. And she was 16 years old. Following the brutal murder of Mahsa Amini, who was 22, in 2022, a mass demonstration began inside Iran and in diaspora. And many young kids, alongside the adults, they went to the streets to fight this regime with peaceful demonstrations, and many of these kids got kidnapped. And in Nika Shakarami's case, she was held hostage at an unknown place for a few days. She was raped and tortured, and then she was pushed off of a building, and they found her body in the streets.
And she was so brutalized that parents could only identify her by a birthmark. So this one here, this is Saleh Mohammadi. I hope I said that right. So he was at the Olympics in the wrestling, and he was 19, I think, and they've just hung him recently while the bombing is going on because he went to a protest.
Yes.
And to me, we have the evidence here of these people that are causing people to stand up, and I have a litany of them. That's like these faces here. So all of these have a story, and I am not saying that Israel or America are bombing Iran to liberate people. I think they have other reasons for doing it. I don't know what they are, but it seems to me, Mona, that your people have a window of opportunity maybe to be freed from the regime. So you'll be the beneficiaries or whatever these richer powers want. Is that how you see it?
I see it as when we were demonstrating on diaspora, massive crowds around the world. Um, but we were very lonely because, prior to that, the war between Russia and Ukraine had started, and we also tried to approach the Ukrainians at their demonstration here in Perth too, but because it's Islamic Republic, it was really difficult for some people to try to understand the difference between the Iranians and the regime. And we had to, come and approach and support and tell the Ukrainians in Perth that we are different and we are very sorry what this regime is doing, because they found some of the drones that was made in Iran that was used by the Russians. So we were saying that we are different. And our demonstrations mainly was the Iranians, and we didn't receive much support. We did receive, from our network maybe. And then following the terrorist attacks by Hamas on October 7 in Israel, that is when we, immediately went here to the Jewish community to, give our support and stand by our Jewish friends. And that is how our, this friendship started again. And the Jews are giving a amazing support to us now. What I believe that the Israelis, the situation there is a very hostile situation and it's been there for years. And I think that it is time now for a resolution. And I think that they have every single right to defend themselves and to make sure that their population are safe. And, these Hamas thugs are not going to kill anybody else. And I do believe that this is it, and never again is now should be in the minds of every single Jewish person, I think, because they've had the terrible experience of the Holocaust, and now this Hamas happening. These people being traumatized in the past, and this is again another level of traumatization, which unfortunately I'm so sorry to see that the West is just unable to see and understand it. Also, because of that, I think that the Israelis actually do have their maybe the main idea is to make sure that their people are going to be safe, and they are trying to help us as well. Cyrus the Great helped them once, so maybe this is the time that they're returning the favor.
Can I just say first off to the comments, we expected a load of trolls, and we're only going to put up comments and discuss comments where people actually have a name. So if you just have numbers and you don't have a name, we're not interacting with you. People with a name, we will. Now, back to the question of that 16-year-old girl that we have, Afghanistan, where the women, I know it's an ancient culture, but the women are treated, well, they walk around like curtains. Now we have Iran, where we're seeing the images of these women being tortured and murdered, raped, and stuff like this. And there is nothing from the feminist movement. The global feminist movement is completely silent,
Isn't that interesting?
except they are actually almost supporting the regime against you, and they're supporting the right of men to pretend to be women to go into women's spaces. So is the feminist movement, from your position, basically finished, not fit for purpose anymore? Because Have you had any interaction with feminists? Is there an underground feminist movement that's reached out to you offering help? Anything at all? Has been any help issued to you guys from the feminist movement?
Not at all. And I think that the feminist movement is a big joke like the United Nations, today, uh, with all honesty. I know that they've been trying to, over the years, be the voice of so many maybe immigrants and thinking the minorities who migrate to their countries, who want to wear the hijab because they say that it is based on their costume, their religion, their culture, whatever. That might be their choice if they wanted to do it. If it's a free world, as long as, I don't know. For example, myself, I'm extremely against burqa. That somebody covered their face, that you don't know who that is sitting behind that veil. But it is understandable if somebody is saying that, hey, let's coexist peacefully. However, I have to say something very, very clearly. Islam is not our culture. Islam might be the religion that some Iranians might be practicing. Hijab is not our costume, is not our culture, and we don't like it to be forced on us, whether inside our own country, motherland, or in Australia or anywhere else.
Some of the things we've been told that you're not allowed to have is, we interviewed a woman with a dog. You're not allowed to own dogs. Is that true?
Yes, that is true. And, Islamic Republic, the IRGC, these thugs, especially when it's summertime, these guys are against bright colors. You can get into trouble if you wear white, yellow, green, blue. You have to always cover yourself up in black, dark blue, dark brown, and gray. And these are the colors that they prefer for you to wear. So you don't have much options. But again, Iranians are fighting that, and things are changing slowly in that area, because now there is a sea of blood between us. No other reform. You can't change the clothes on this regime and tell us that this is going to be your regime and your government. No, we want them out, and that's it. Yes, and from time to time, they might even come and if somebody is holding their dog or they have it in a car, they might shoot it, kill the dog, because their religion says that a dog is dirty, like pig. So pig and dog are dirty animals, and Islam doesn't like them. So that's why it is forbidden.
This one here from Anna Hitak. Mona, please talk about how Iran was before the 1979 revolution, and how the left, Marxist, socialist, and Islamic groups helped overthrow our country into a Muslim regime. The same thing's happening in Australia today. Please wake up. That's a comment. I'm not saying I agree with that, but that's the comment.
Yes. So prior to 1979, there was a dynasty of Pahlavi, the Pahlavi era. So the golden era of Persians. There are so many propaganda that was actually, it was spread by the lefties and these leftist human activists in the Western world, thanks to them, plus the Islamists, that they just ruined it for us. But before that, we had the Reza Shah the Great. I have made actually some notes to make sure that I'm not going to forget anything to just mention. Reza Shah the Great, he ruled for 16 years, and he was elected by the parliament, and it was following a coup, because prior to that there was a dynasty that kept people in poverty, and our oil was sold for cheap. to the British company for 100 years. People were not happy, they were all dying and disease was everywhere. Reza Shah was elected in 1925 and he became the king. So he ruled from 1925 to 1941, and he was a pro, Iran. He was a nationalist and a very secular and democratic man. So he had a lot of Cyrus the Greatest qualities as well. He Some of the things, for example, he did was to a centralization, of the power, and made Iran a more secure and safe place, especially with our borders, because so many of our Arab neighbors had invaded, and they were residing in our basically territory. So he pushed them all out. So there were so many of these guys that they were unhappy that somebody is here to get everything into order. He built a lot of infrastructure, and he started boosting the economy. He started introducing taxation laws with the help of some of the educated men. And then build some railways, and then universities, the first universities, the banking reform. So before that, the banking system was in the hands of the Russians and the British, for example, that he basically changed that. So as you can see, again, there are so many players here that they're not happy. He introduced, put the judicial system more in order, followed as far as I know, secularization of the law, introduced the civil code based on the French law. And then, there was a lot of social changes with the dress code. So Reza Shah began, because he also had a trip. He went to Turkey and he met with Ataturk at a time. And then he saw that, in Turkey, because he was also, the Ataturk at the time also was modernizing his country with a very fast pace. So these two could understand, and they were on the same page, kind of. And then he saw that over there, Reza Shah saw that the women in Turkey are involved in working in the society, and they have jobs. And he just then had another aha moment maybe. And then when he came back, he was like, oh, the women should have the right to work and dress however they wanted. Because we've been, as I mentioned, 1400 years ago, when we were attacked by the Arabs, a percentage of the population became Muslims, and then we had these mullahs who were using and abusing the power that Islam was giving to them. And many people were uneducated. So the only education system at the time was in the hands of the mullahs, teaching people the nonsense that they do. And then, so anyway,
From what I saw in the
yeah,
70s, Iran was one of the most vibrant, progressive states or countries in that
yeah,
entire region. It was
yeah,
really blossoming. Then we had the revolution, and now we're here with this war. And my thing is that it's like I'm losing enormous amount of followers because I'll show you what that is. What do you say to those who are flipping out by saying they won't follow you anymore after all you've done for the people? To me, it sums up the blindness people have. Well, I don't really care if I have to pretend to hate or fill my heart with the hate to keep people. They can go fuck themselves for all I care. I'm more interested in the people going through what they're going through. Now, the world is run by money, people we don't know. We really don't. We make it up. And we are the pawns that have to endure all this. And what it seems to me is that the people of Iran, the ones who have no power, have reached the point where they've got nothing left to lose but to either fight for liberty or die. That seems to me the point that Iran is at. Am I correct with that?
That is correct. And let me add something from what I was saying. So after Reza Shah, when the Mohammad Reza Shah, his son, came to power and he ruled for 37 years, immediately he started modernizing even further. And then women now had the right to vote and, go to parliament and, become a politician. And the Iranian women were given the right to vote before some of the European countries even. And then he started, changing the system because there was a feudal landlord system that these landlords, were keeping the farmers in poverty. So, there were so many peasants that they could not afford a good living. And then the king changed that, and he bought those lands from those landlords and then gave it to the farmers. And said that every single Iranian should be able to afford to have a roof over their head and have a good and decent, living or what the minimum standards that he had at the time in his mind. This again upset so many landlords, let's say, who had the power, and they were giving part of their income to the mullahs, and the mullahs were, in the rural areas playing the judiciary, and they could together commit any crime they wanted, and this was kind of cut off to a portion of it. And this is why the kings, they had so many enemies, and the children of the previous dynasty who lost the power, plus together with the children of the mullahs, with the mullahs and children of these landlords, they became communists. Some of them became the socialists, and some of them became the Islamists. Together, they joined powers to overthrow the king because they were not happy with that. And yes, today we see it as this. The Islamic Republic is like a cancer in Iran, as if somebody has a stage 4 cancer, and you say to us, okay, you have to go through a very intense chemotherapy to maybe survive this, and we're like, yeah, let's do it, and then there's some, I don't know, some spiritual person is crying, oh, don't do the chemotherapy and sit down and pray, and maybe God changes your cells and you heal. We're like, no, thanks. I'm going to take the chemotherapy at the stage 4 cancer. So for us, this is it, the chemotherapy that our country needs.
The other thing, and I'm going to throw to Leon, is sexy. Better have some damn good questions to ask there, Leon. You better have some very good questions to ask. I just want to say what pisses me off with the thinking of the world is the leaders of the world do things that a lot of us don't agree with. Albanese has done a lot of things that I completely disagree with. So I am not Albanese. And this is the leader of any country. And yet the people just hate the country, hate the Jews, hate the Muslims. I've worked and grown up with a lot of really good Muslims who don't want to hurt anybody. They really don't. And I've worked with them at length. I've worked with one on a play, and we worked together great on a play. There's artists and there's great people everywhere, but we are trademarked almost by the things of our leaders, and most of this really is pushing for power. Whether it's the leader of like with the regime, we have a video of one of the leaders taking his daughter to her wedding, and she's got a strapless dress on. Her boobs are hanging out. You know what I mean? If you did that in Iran, you'd probably be arrested and whatever comes. So the leaders do not believe in what they're sprouting. It's just about power. and the religion is a way of hiding the fact that it's just about power and wealth. I've seen the leaders' children in Monaco driving the latest Ferraris and all this stuff, and this happens everywhere. I got in a lot of trouble in Melbourne because I was a poet, and this was before I was making a living as an artist, and I was a tram driver, and I used to watch the whole world get on my tram, all of it. Jews, Muslims, black, white, every race you could think of, every religion, they'd all be on my tram. And in the years I was working there while I was bringing up my family, I never saw a racist incident. They were just traveling a tram. They just wanted to get somewhere. They weren't hating someone because they were wearing a hijab or you'd have men on there in dresses and everyone would just smile. They didn't care. They're a very tolerant race. And I saw it as a beautiful thing. And I wrote a poem saying that these people can't see how beautiful they are. They are the world. They are proof that if you remove the leaders and the greedy and the powerful and those who yearn for power, if you remove them from the equation, human beings just want to get on. They just want to live. They just want to be. But for some reason, this power gets in and that corrupts all down. Like you said, a cancer, and it gets in people's hearts. And one thing I love about Australia, and that's why I'm doing this now, is we don't have the old hatreds here. And a lot of people have come from countries with old hatreds. They don't want to bring the old hatreds with them. I've seen Muslims online saying, leave that over there. We don't want it here. We don't want our kids growing up with these old hatreds. The same with you Iranians. I interviewed one lovely man. He said, I don't want to go back. I prefer it here. You know, even though I love my country, I prefer it here. And we don't. And the only way we can stop it is we have to confront it. We have to talk about it. And that's why Bondi was so awful. Here is two sick in the head men, evil, sick in the head men, killing Jews for what? You know, all they're doing is trying to install that the hatred in here, and then our prime minister won't even admit to it. He goes, "Oh, it's the right wingers." 5,000 words he spoke in the weeks following. He never once mentioned Islamic terrorism. Never once. It was right wingers he kept talking about. So it is this really strange thing that the state and the government doesn't seem to want to stop the hatred, but we have to, you know, and we have to stop it here because this country has everything it needs to be a beacon of love and tolerance for the entire world, to show the entire world this is how humans can live together. You know, we have our little bickers and road rage and stuff, but we're not committing genocide on each other now. I know we did it with the Aborigines, but we're not doing it now. And I think the only way we can reach there is we have to talk about the difficult things. And that's why I'm so glad you came on, Mona, and Leon too. But Leon, if his balls were any bigger, he wouldn't be able to walk. But you yourself, Mona, I want to admire you to come on and really talk. And I know I had to put up some difficult questions, but it shows your commitment to your cause, and I really admire it. I really admire
Definitely. Thank you so much, Michael. And, as you said, that is why it is so important to have a secular democratic system. So an ideology doesn't get, powerful enough or, have the control over the lives of other people. So we lose the balance and democracy in our societies.
Leon, do you have any questions? No comments?
So Mona, it's interesting. Michael mentioned before that in foreign countries there are children of senior members of the Islamic Republic, of the leadership, that are living very Western lifestyles. And actually, you would be aware of this because it's across the Persian community here in Australia, that there's one such person that's living in far north Queensland. I think she's the daughter of a senior Iranian general. And she's living a very Western lifestyle, no hijab. And yet they are benefiting from the West and living this lifestyle, but yet they're still supporting the regime of their parents. Can you explain, I don't expect you to have an answer, but maybe you do, the cognitive dissonance behind that?
Yes, and her father is actually a very close um, advisor, was the advisor to Khamenei as well. And, Iranian community, what we have done, we have started so many petitions, whether on, Australian Parliament, site or on Change.org. So if you check that, you will find a lot of these people that we have already identified, and we are, asking the governments of Australia or United States or any other place in the Europe to make sure that, they remove them and and cancel their visas. With her, I know that she was apparently given permanent residency as well. So we did have that petition. I think that it was more than 40,000 votes last time I checked it. I'm not sure how far it went. But also Ghalibaf's son was living here in Australia as well, but he apparently didn't have a permanent residency, and he left the country soon after we started a petition against him and asking the authorities to remove him. And as you know, Ghalibaf is one of the high-rankings IRGC guys who killed so many students in Kuya Daneshgah. He threw, under his order, many of the students lost their lives during one of the demonstrations many years ago. His father's hands is, stained with the blood of many, many Iranian children. We actually have a network that we are working behind the scenes to actually identify these guys and set up the petitions to cancel their visas. And many of these guys in the United States have already had their visas and green cards and all cancelled, and they have to return to Iran because all of these guys need to face justice.
I was just going to say Soleimani's niece she was living in California. She's getting deported out of the United States.
Yes, that is one example, and there are others as well. And these guys, when they come to your country, they don't care about your values. They don't care about the democracy. They don't care about anything Australian or American. They don't integrate. They don't fall in love. They might enjoy the ride with the stolen money from the Iranian people and have fun and go do their networking and behind the scenes, but they try their best to get involved with money laundering. So all of these guys, they have to go through a lot of financial audits, I believe, to check to see that if they've been, if there was a network of money laundering that these guys were involved in.
So in other words, it seems like they've been sent by the regime deliberately to Western countries to engage in various activities on behalf of the regime, one of which, of course, is money laundering.
Yes. So, for example, NIAC, which is an organization that Trita Parsi is the main guy that represents the Islamic Republic in the United States. We have actually started a petition for Trita Parsi as well. By we, I don't mean myself personally. Someone in the Iranian community diaspora done it, and it is now circulating online between the Iranians to basically sign that petition for Trita Parsi to get deported from America as well, because he is the agent of Islamic Republic and he should not be there.
There's moving forward. I just got a video here quickly. This is from Iran in the 1970s. It goes a bit fast. And here's where, so that was where you were. So obviously the country was excited, it was progressive, it was growing. Yeah, and you can feel that there's loads of other videos from that era. The people were happy. These are the people now. I don't know if people can see the writing, so maybe you can fill us in with what she's saying.
من ممنونم از همتون. فقط همین براش یه دست دیگه بزنید، خودش شاهده. حداقل یه دست بزنید.
Why are they clapping, Mona?
You know, yeah, for so many years we've been crying following the death of our loved ones in the hands of IRGC and the Islamic Republic, but we have come to realization that in order for us to get rid of the Islamic Republic, we need to shed our light, you know. So light is defeating darkness. They are clapping. She's clapping for her son who was murdered by IRGC because he was one of the protesters. And she's saying that don't pray in a Muslim way for my son. Clap for him. He was a hero. Yeah.
So celebrate the amount of courage that would take to do that. I heard another one too. These are images that just stay with you. You know that. This one here, I had to just show this one. This one when I thought, I don't care what the. I'll play this in a sec. This one, what I love about this is, one, it's horrible, but the courage of the father, Leon. Watch this. So what it is, they're about to hang him, and his child is watching. There's the child, and he's smiling and waving at the child, not to scare it. And they're going to hang him publicly. And I don't want to put the other images of people hanging, but there's a totalitarianism literally always ends like this. Bodies, hundreds of millions of bodies. And it seems that this is where your country is now. And if it's not now, if they crush you now, you'll just rise up again. But basically, the end of the regime is near, and they're basically just killing anything they can to try hold on to what they can't hold on to. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes, because they have everything to lose and they're fighting for that, and they know that the justice system is going to be waiting for them when the regime falls. So they are killing and they're trying to stay as long as they can in power. But I have to say that no, if ever there is any negotiations happening, no negotiations, nothing. Iranian people have decided we don't want these guys in power anymore. We have the leader of opposition, who's Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, who's helping us to go through a very peaceful and safe transition, and he's leading this transitional period for us to be able to overthrow this regime. And Iran should be in the hands of its true righteous owners again, and that is our goal.
I wish you the best. Now, Leon, as a Jew, how much are you paying me tonight to do this show? People are saying
I was going to ask you that question, Michael. So it's you're going to be surprised by the answer. You ready? Holding on to your seats. 7K.
Could you bump it up a bit? You know, petrol's expensive at the moment.
I have to check with my superiors. But there's quite a few people in the comment section that seem to have a lot of answers to a lot of questions. They're quite knowledgeable.
I'll be honest with you.
Out.
The social media, the campaigns and all these things, the filter of hate is over them. They can't see any other way. So, can I ask you, Mona, when I went down there to interview you, how you said that, a lot of people have said to me they can't, no one will listen to you guys. They can't get any media coverage, anything, because you go against the narrative. Is that true?
Maybe for a period, yes, but I strongly believe, Michael, as you said about your followers, saying that we unfollow, but you stand for the truth. I strongly believe that I stand for the truth, even if I have to stand for the truth by myself and alone. I'm going to stand there alone as long as I can till the rest of the people join me. So I think that for a period, yes, but after this, the light is, overcomes the darkness, then everybody can open their eyes, even those that they didn't believe the truth.
I have a saying because I've got a book that, in it I've been writing, darkness fears the light, and the brightest light is the truth. That's why we must keep searching for it. I thoroughly believe that. And people don't want to live like this. They don't want to live in fear. They don't want to be told what to wear or they want the government to leave them alone. Fix the roads, that'd be good. Empty the bins, and try not to get too corrupt and leave us alone. That's what I think the majority of people want. But here we are in this strange time. The world's on an edge, and I just wanted to hear, because it doesn't make sense. I've got an Iranian woman who I think left Iran, maybe, I'm not sure, maybe 8 or 9 years ago. She was wearing an Israeli flag, and I just asked her, "Why are you wearing the Israeli flag if you're Iranian?" And the hate in the comments is extraordinary. They won't listen. They won't even entertain the fact that this woman, through learned experience, a lived experience, has made a decision. She's like you, Mona, standing her ground. And instead, no, she's being paid by Israelis. She's this because the hate is so deep. And the only way to fight back it is to talk, and they can hate us all they want. And is there anything else you'd like to say, Mona, before we call it quits?
Just want to say, the haters can hate. I'm a type of person that I'm always looking for ways for the resolution and where we can achieve peace and harmony. So the haters can be busy with their head, whatever, but they're not actually doing anything productive. We love the Jews. If you want to hate them, we love them even more. That's it.
What a statement. I'll write that down, 137. Just had an Iranian say they love the Jews. There you go. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. I'm a great admirer of your pride and your determination, of all the people who were there, Mona, and Malika and all her people on her side. So I really thank you. And Leon, well, I'm just good mates with Leon, so I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I'm just good mates with him. He's a great man. So we'll just keep going in this dark time. And what I do know is if we do want to reach somewhere good, we can't hate our way there. We can't do it. You just can't do it. It's not a route that leads to anywhere good. Leon, my friend, is there anything you'd like to say? Because I'm actually going to let Nika take us out. But is there anything you'd like to say?
Thank you so much, Mona, for coming on. Michael, thank you so much for hosting this. I think it's a conversation that we need to have. And in Melbourne, where I live, I've had the merit to meet a lot of Persians. I'm in touch with a lot of Persian dissidents. I've been to the rallies, and they're the loveliest, just warm, very welcoming people. So thank you, and we stand in solidarity. And to people in the comments, I just, especially, people that are critical of Michael, all I can say to you is to, keep an open mind. Don't accept everything at face value. Use that discernment that you used during COVID, where you didn't face anything at accept everything at face value. You scrutinize it. Use your critical thinking skills. I'm not telling you to accept my point of view. I'm just saying, as a bare minimum, just if you see something on TikTok, on CNN, don't accept it at face value. Just question it.
And I'm going to go out. What's her full name? Nina. I can't see the thing. What's her full name, Mona?
My full name.
No, Nina. Nina, the 16-year-old. What's her full name?
Oh, it's Nika. It's Nika Sharkarami.
Okay. Before she was killed, she got caught. She'd taken off her hijab. She'd burnt it. And then she sung this song. Now, she is a 16-year-old young woman. And when you listen to this song, it's clear that she just wanted to be in love and be herself and be loved for being herself. So she's singing this ancient Persian love song. I believe that's what it is said. And so they killed her, but we still have a voice. So listen to this and think and see if you can hate it all you want. But to me, I'll just get her up here. This is a great loss to the world that we're losing this for any reason whatsoever. That's why at the moment we're lost. We're in the darkness and we can't get it out of the darkness with hating. We have to find another route. Mona, thank you for coming on. Admire your courage. Please stay in touch. Leon, I love you, brother. Take care.
Thank you. Love you too.
And
Thank you so much.
No worries. This is Nika. Good night.